Hey everybody, I'm Alana Zurich from Beverly Hills Hair Free, and we are live on YouTube. Um, I wanted to jump on here today and answer some questions. So we've been getting a lot of questions from people about how electrolysis works, what exactly is electrolysis, and I took some notes, have them here today, and I'm going to answer or try to answer some of the questions that you all have. And if you can't join the live, don't worry, it'll live on YouTube, so you can go back to it if you need information. If there's something that you want to ask us that I didn't answer, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer your questions and help you navigate this crazy, crazy, big, expansive world of hair removal. So I want to begin. First of all, welcome to my Wednesday Live. I finally figured out how to do this, and I'm so excited because now I can bring on guests, and I plan to do that. We're going to have some interesting people coming up. So let's start off with me explaining what is multi-probe galvanic electrolysis. And we get a lot of questions on this because people don't understand what it is, and that's okay. I didn't really understand what it was either when I first started looking into it. And after 30 years, I feel like I can explain pretty much almost everything there is to know about electrolysis in a nutshell. So hopefully I can explain this information to you today and help you navigate. And then you can decide which form of hair removal you think is best for you. So the topic of discussion, let's start by explaining what electrolysis means. So basically what electrolysis means, the word electrolysis means converting salt water molecules. Now you might ask yourself, what the heck does that have to do with hair removal? Well, as it relates to hair removal, what happens is it works like this. So a tiny little filament is inserted into each hair follicle. Once the filament reaches the salty tissue inside the follicle, it releases a current. So the current mixed with the salty water creates something called lye, or sodium hydroxide. Now that lye is caustic. And what happens is it kind of circulates inside the follicle and destroys the stem cells that are growing your hair. We do remove the hair once the process is finished. So once the probe comes out, we remove the probe and then we remove the hair. If we leave the hair in there, it'll clog and it'll become an ingrown. So once we remove the hair, we remove the filament, the lye still is working in there. So if you kind of think about a test tube, what happens when you have water inside of a test tube? You put an electric current in there. Now, obviously, you don't have salt, but if you add salt, it creates lye. So that lye is raising the water content all the way up to the top because it's kind of like a boiling effect. So it will work. It works every time. And then once the process is finished, we bring you back. Once we bring you back, it's because we want to see what the regrowth rate is. Now, there will be regrowth, so that's something important for all of you to understand. Electrolysis is not a one-shot deal. It requires several treatments, which brings me to the next question that everybody wants to know. So how many sessions am I going to need? There's no standard answer for that. And I want to caution you, if somebody tells you you're going to need exactly 2 or 4 or 6, I'm not sure how accurate that is because I'm never able to give you an exact number. A lot of this has to do with your own physiology. I don't know what's going on inside your body, and that's such an important factor. So I want to caution you that it is a process and you do need multiple treatments. Cannot tell you how many exactly. What we can do is give you an estimate, and our estimates are pretty accurate. Okay, so how many sessions will it take? That really depends. So for example, how much hair is there? It depends on that as well. If we're treating a super large area, obviously you're going to need more sessions than if we're treating a smaller area. So that's something that we take into consideration. So like I said, it's the amount of hair you have that we're treating. It's the physiology in your body. Obviously, if you have a hormonal imbalance and it's stimulating your androgens, you're going to have a little bit of an issue in terms of you're always going to produce more hair. So that requires a combination of treatments. We can get rid of the hair, but you're also going to have to seek some medical attention. So it requires our approach. And then in addition to that, we have to figure out how to control your hormonal issues. So those are some of the factors to consider with electrolysis. The other question we get asked a lot is, how do you find a professional? That's something that is entirely subjective. Okay, so in my opinion, it depends on what qualities you're looking for and what to you constitutes a good professional. Everybody's different, and that's why we have choices. But I will tell you, our profession is not as difficult to navigate as some would think. It's just like finding a good hairdresser, finding a good surgeon, finding a good, trainer to work out with. All of those things that people say it's so hard to navigate, it's really not that difficult. But I will tell you, what's difficult is finding people. In other words, if you're looking for a trainer, you're probably going to go to Instagram, or you're going to go to Google search. It's easier to find people that are in industries that are out there and really broad. Electrolysis is not as broad of an industry, and I think that's why it's so difficult to navigate. But we are starting to position ourselves. Beverly Hills Hair Free is on a lot of social media. So if you go and you Google permanent hair removal, or you Google electrolysis, or even sometimes if you Google laser, will come up. So I think that's starting to change a little bit. And it can be frustrating. I understand that for sure. It's kind of like an ancient technique, if you will. And the reason that I'm saying that is because electrolysis was invented a long time ago, way before laser. And it hasn't really been commercialized. So it's difficult to find us, but we are here. I've been trying to kind of get out there into the forefront and let the public know that electrolysis hasn't been taken over by laser. We're still two different techniques, and I'll go into some of the explanations on laser in a little bit. But there is a lot of misinformation about electrolysis on the internet. I will give you that. And then there's also something that I call too much information, which also makes it difficult to navigate. So I'm going to try to streamline the misinformation and too much information here today so that it makes it easier for you to understand how electrolysis works, what it is in terms of the different modalities, because I think that can be really confusing. And so that's my next topic here is the different modalities of electrolysis. So there are three modalities that are considered electrolysis or encompassed in electrolysis. And I'll try and give you a really good explanation. So the first and original form of electrolysis is called galvanic. That's where we convert saltwater molecules. That was the original invention back in 1875, galvanic electrolysis, okay? That's a chemical reaction, or the lye that I talked about. The second form is called thermolysis, thermo, heat, based on a cauterization technique. And it was invented by a surgeon in France, Dr. Bordier, because when you're in surgery and they use their cauterization knife, it's meant to close up the open skin so the patient doesn't bleed out. Okay, so that's thermo. That's the second one. That's heat-based. It's actually kind of similar to laser, although laser uses photons, and we'll talk about that. And then the third form is called the blend, and that's the combination of the two. It's the original electrolysis, galvanic lye, mixed with some heat, thermo. Now, the other important thing to know is that all three of these modalities that I just mentioned use one single probe at a time. I'm sure you've seen the videos, and that's probably what you're thinking about, is that it's one hair at a time. So those are your three modalities. You have galvanic, you have thermolysis, and then the blend, which is a combination. All three of them use one single probe at a time. So let's get to the multi-probe galvanic, which is what we at Beverly Hills Hair Free use. And that is the original form of electrolysis, which is galvanic sodium hydroxide lye. It's a chemical reaction, and we use 32 probes. We can use 16 or 32. Now, the difference will be depending on how much hair you have. If you only have a few hairs, whiskers, whatever you want to call it, we're going to use only 16 probes on you. Now, if you have a large area, a lot of hair, we definitely want to double up and use 32 probes because it goes much faster. So I hope that that explains a little bit about the different modalities in electrolysis and why it can be confusing. And here's the thing. It's up to you to do your research. And I always say that. You can have as much information as you want, but please do your own research and pick the professional that you feel is knowledgeable enough and is going to, I guess, provide enough information that will help you navigate that. Okay. So I just gave you the 3 different modalities and I explained to you what we at Beverly Hills Hair Free use. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting too. The reason that we here at Beverly Hills Hair Free use multi-probe galvanic is because I started out using thermolysis. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I used it for 2 years. And for me, it wasn't working. I couldn't get a treatment plan for my clients. I couldn't tell them when they were going to be done with visits because there were always follow-up sessions. When I found galvanic multi-probe, the 32, instead of just a single one, I realized a few things. Number one, pain factor, much less because you have 32 little tiny probes instead of one concentrated current. So we can reduce the pain factor, larger area clearance. Definitely larger area clearance because of the timing involved in galvanic. It's much slower than thermolysis. Okay. And the results are just incredible. So those are the differences in the modalities and the reason why we at Beverly Hills Hair Free only use multi-probe galvanic for those reasons. We see much better results. It is good for everybody's skin and every hair type. And the pain factor is way less. Now, what's the typical treatment plan? That's something that we're asked all the time. So we can create a treatment plan for each individual because everyone has a different situation. So some of our options can be bi-weekly, some of them can be monthly. Sometimes we have international clients. Actually, a lot of times we have international clients, and we like to keep them as long as possible. Obviously, they're traveling. They want to save money and time. They can't keep hopping on a plane to come back for hair removal treatments. So let's just say you're coming in, and I'm just going to pick an area. You're doing a full beard removal, facial hair, and you come in to see us on a Thursday. We're going to keep you Thursday, we're going to keep you Friday, and we're going to try to keep you Saturday for as long as we can, because our goal is to get as much hair cleared as possible to get you on your flight back home so that you can take your time to recover. If you're not traveling internationally, our goal might be that you want to come in monthly, kind of like a waxing. So you come in and we can clear your facial hair. Let's say you have PCOS and you have some hair here on the chin, some here, maybe a couple of whiskers on the side and your neck area. We want to make sure that we can get as much hair as possible when you're here with us. And then you come back to see us in a month. Why a month? Because hair grows on a cycle. And I'm going to tell you something interesting and segue into this. We tell our clients to stop doing everything except shaving. And sometimes they think they're plucking the same hair. When they stop doing everything they're doing other than shaving, because shaving doesn't remove the hair from the root. So if you're shaving and you wait 3 weeks, you're going to realize that it's not the same hair you're plucking every day. And that's the reason we ask you to stop waxing, plucking, doing laser or doing electrolysis. We really need to see how much hair is there. It's really difficult for me to give you a treatment plan if I don't know the entire picture. So I know that everybody says, oh, Alana, if I shave, I'm going to get more hair. You're not going to get more hair. That's a total myth. If that were true, then I just discovered the cure for baldness. Bring me every bald man. I will shave his head, take his money, and he'll grow hair. That's not true. That's not going to happen. What the razor does do, though, so that you're not crazy, that's a fact. It cuts the hair off at an angle. So you do feel like you have prickly, thicker, coarser hair, but it doesn't change the consistency of it. So, yes, it's kind of like a trick on the mind, but it does not actually cause any change to the hair whatsoever. Um, Let me just make sure I don't leave anything out. So I want to make sure that I cover everything. Let's talk about downtime and recovery. Um, this must be said. A lot of people don't like it. There is a recovery. If you're going to go deep into the subcutaneous layer, which is what electrolysis does with a tiny probe and release current, the skin is going to have to heal. You are going to get a scab. Are you going to get a scab with every time? No. But there is no way for us to control how your skin reacts to certain treatments. And there is no way for us to turn up or turn down the current for every single hair. So if you picture someone's face or body and you have all these different hairs, you have thick hair, lighter hair, finer hair, they're maybe possibly in different stages of growth. Not all of them are going to require the same kind of treatment. So some hair will not be destroyed after the first session. This is where the regrowth comes in. Others will, and they will not grow again. So just like every hair has to be treated differently, your skin will respond to that treatment differently per follicle. So sometimes you'll get 2 scabs, sometimes you might get 20, 30, 40, depending on how much time we have you in our office. So that is just, the way the treatment is. And if you go to surgery, you have downtime. If you go tanning, you might burn. If you go get laser, you might have a reaction. Everybody's body is different. So saying that one person reacts one way, does that mean everybody else is going to react the same way? Absolutely not. I've had clients who've never gotten a scab who show up for work the next day and nobody knows they've had any work done. And then I have others that take a really long time. I'm one of those people. When I have people work on me, students work on me, or I test equipment on myself, it takes me forever to get rid of my scabs and for my skin to get back to normal. But that's okay. I know that I respond to everything. If you touch me, you can leave a mark. So I respond to everything way more than other people do. So that's something that you all should know. There is a little bit of a downtime. We will minimize that and plan your treatments around it so that if you're in front of a camera and you need to cover your scabbing or minimize your scabbing, we'll work around your schedule. We don't want to traumatize anybody. We don't want to create any more issues than you already have, but we do want to do our job and we do want to remove that hair. So that's just part of the process, you guys. We have amazing aftercare. I'm going to tell you that. We use a product called Calm Balm. We are distributors here in the US for it. We will provide that for you. It's incredible aftercare. I use it all the time. And if you stick to what we tell you to do after treatment, you're going to be fine with beautiful skin. Galvanic doesn't scar. I will tell you that. Sometimes when we get questions and people go, oh, is there scarring? It's scabbing. It's a scab. It's like picking a pimple. It's when your skin has to recover. The blood supply has to come back. Other than that, you're not going to get any permanent marks. Sometimes there is hypo and hyperpigmentation, and that will resolve itself. The other question I sometimes get is, when can I go do laser on my face to get rid of some of the spots? We always ask that you wait until after you're done with electrolysis to do that, because you don't want to keep going between there and then coming back to us for treatment. So that's important to remember. I do want to touch on laser because I've had a lot of people ask me questions about it. And I'm not a laser technician, so I'm not going to say that I'm an expert, but I have spoken to experts who are not just laser technicians, but they are people who work in the realm and they design let's just say lasers. So I will tell you how it works. And first of all, I don't know if anybody out there knows that. Some people might. That laser is an acronym. Laser stands for light amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation. It's in there. It's in the name. Google it. It's an acronym. And I didn't invent it and I didn't name it, but the people who invented and named it, that's what they named it. And they switched it into an acronym. Okay, so it stands for light amplification by stimulated emissions of radiation. So what I know about laser and how it works is laser uses photons and it tracks the pigment in the hair and the skin. So it doesn't differentiate between the pigment in your skin, the pigment in your hair. And what it does do is, what it doesn't do, sorry, is it does not destroy the stem cells inside the follicle like a chemical reaction that electrolysis does. I watched a video, it's out there somewhere on YouTube, where a gentleman went and recorded a laser session, I believe his friend had. And I know they tell you to shave before you get laser done. And the reason that happens is because the laser will literally burn the hair off the top of your skin. So if you want to go watch that video, it's actually pretty interesting, where he zooms in and you can watch the hair back and forth being hit by the laser, and then it shrivels up. And they actually say, wow, I can smell the hair burning. So that's how it works. Now, the light does get absorbed into the skin and into the blood supply. So this is important for the PCOS folks out there. There is a portion that will get absorbed into the blood supply, and that is where you're going to see the opposite effect. Not all the time, but sometimes, because you have an androgen problem with the hormones that are growing your hair. So when the laser hits it and the blood supply absorbs it, it can stimulate the opposite effect. So it can actually grow more hair than you had before. So that's a phenomenon. It's called paradoxical hypertrichosis. Not everybody gets it, but we are seeing a lot of people come back to us and say that they've had laser done and now they have more hair. The other question that we always seem to get is, why is laser the only thing offered by medical professionals? Well, I can only speculate that most doctors aren't trained in other fields. So, for example, if you're going to go to a medical professional or a doctor and they suggest that you go get lasers, just because they aren't aware that electrolysis works differently than the laser. So if you go to an endocrinologist or someone who's diagnosing you with PCOS or a hormonal imbalance, oftentimes they're probably not aware that the laser may cause the opposite effect for you. So they're trying to really send you to a place thinking that you're going to get rid of your hair, and sometimes does the opposite. Or in some cases, I've had clients that said they have had no results at all with laser. So it's kind of, if you know what you're doing with laser, then you can refer the client to the proper hair removal method. But like me, I'm not trained in laser, so I wouldn't be able to recommend that. And if someone like a professional doctor isn't, they probably wouldn't know the difference either. So I hope that I gave you some differences with laser and electrolysis, and I've explained the 3 different modalities with electrolysis: galvanic, thermolysis, blend, and then galvanic using multi-probe, 32 probes at a time. We take clients from all over the world. You can travel to us. We have a website. You click on it. You reach out to us. We'll give you a treatment plan. We'll walk you through it. We'll tell you what it takes from the time you come to see us to when you start to see results, and then you're actually hair free. We do have pain management options, just like everything else: waxing, plucking, shaving, laser. All of them have a component of pain to them. And depending on your pain tolerance, we have options to eliminate that or to keep it to a real minimum so that you're comfortable in our office. So we try to save you money. We try to get everything we can get done when you're here in our office. And the way we work is a little different also than some other electrologists out there. We want you in our office as long as possible, so it requires less frequent visits, if that makes sense. And I will say our approach is not for everybody. That's pretty obvious. We have other options out there, just like doctors, lawyers, personal trainers, accountants, any profession, basically, you have options. And it's such a shame that people think that there's no good options for them in the electrolysis realm. There absolutely is. We're out there to educate you. We're out there to help you. We want to see you succeed, and we want you to be hair free and get your life back. So if you have other questions that I haven't answered, please let us know. I'm happy to answer your questions. I'll reach out to you. I'll have my staff reach out to you. We want to make sure that we gave you enough information that you understand what electrolysis is. And it's not a new phenomenon. We've been here for years. I just think that there's a lot of marketing dollars put into laser. And just like anything else, laser is a big business because people want to feel good about themselves. They want to be hair free. Is it for everybody? No. Is it for nobody? No. Of course, there are other options. There's laser, there's electrolysis, there's waxing. Pick the option that works for you best. And so I wanted to clarify what we do, how we work. Electrolysis is a great benefit, and it's for those people who want permanent results. It's also for people who have tried other things and haven't gotten anywhere, or they're not a laser candidate and they're tired of plucking, shaving, or waxing. So we're here to educate, to give you enough information. We have a location in Beverly Hills and a location in Dallas, Texas. We have amazing technicians, and we look forward to meeting all of you and answering your questions. I'm going to jump off this live. I hope that I gave you all enough information. Again, I'm Alana Zurich from Beverly Hills Hair Free. And our website is www.beverlyhillshairfree.com. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. But the best place to find us is through our website. If you want to send us an inquiry, even if you're not ready for treatment, we respond to everybody's questions, emails. We can text you, we can call you, we can get on a Zoom call with you if you have questions. And let me just say that our system and our process works pretty smoothly. So if you want to get information, or you're just, looking for some answers, give us a call. We're here for you. I hope you all have an amazing day. I really hope that I shared some important information with you today, and I look forward to our next live. We will bring on some amazing guests for you. So keep watching. We're going to post, and we want to keep you all informed. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and ask us all the questions that you want. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.